If you go to DOGE, go to their website, there's nothing on it. 1.6% is not an incredible mandate. $1 billion in USAID was actually buying products from American farmers. How many Elon Musk companies were under investigation by federal agencies?
Let's hop into a Piers Morgan panel with Roland Martin laying down some absolute facts that Piers couldn't contend with, even managing to get him to concede, where his show has essentially become a propaganda tool for MAGA, so you don't see a lot of that, but we'll be back after with the usual fact checks and context, so make sure that you like this video and subscribe if you haven't already.
If you go to DOGE, go to their website, there's nothing on it. So this idea that they told us what they found, but they presented no evidence of it. So that's just them. And remember, in the same news conference, even Elon said, yeah, he makes stuff up. He gets it wrong, or I don't bet 1,000. So can you fully trust somebody saying I'm transparent when they're actually not transparent?
Elon, in the very press conference they are referencing, says the mechanism to prevent him from lying is essentially that people can point out when he's wrong. But there's no retraction statement from DOGE. There's no redistribution of the funds after his multiple lies have already been called out. USAID is still unable to render aid as effectively as before. There's hospitals with people dying because they're unable to receive the USAID shipments. The CFPB is still defunded for absolutely no reason. The NLRB is rendered useless as it's deadlocked. What's happening is these elite billionaires are now able to attack these agencies they've long wanted to but have been unable to, that work as the last line of defense of sorts for the working class. All on the pretense of corruption that Elon just says exists, but can never prove with any evidence. Not even on his government website is there evidence. It's just vague conspiratorial claims, then forcing the onus of proof to be on those who are accused, where it should always be on the accuser. It's like me saying that Elon abused me with absolutely no evidence of the fact and telling him that he'll lose all of his money if he can't prove that he didn't. But the kicker is, even when it's pointed out that Elon's lying, as it has been multiple times, the damage is done and these agencies are still rendered useless.
He didn't found Tesla. He didn't found SpaceX. So Clay's wrong there. Two, when you talk about going to bloated government, if you're going to talk about a bloated bureaucracy, the department where we spend the most money, Pentagon, you've had previous reports that the Pentagon has upwards of $125 billion in waste. If you want to go after the place where there's the most waste, that's where you start. But they're not starting there. Also, you have to factor in contracts as well. How many Elon Musk companies were under investigation by federal agencies about practices such as SpaceX? Where are those investigations gone? So if you want to talk about transparency, shouldn't Elon and his companies be held to the same standard as everyone else? It doesn't appear that's the case.
Hi, I'm the guy with the answers. I know MAGA hates to see me coming. Musk companies were involved in over 20 recent investigations. It seems most of these have ceased to exist as of now, as many of the agencies that were conducting them have either been overhauled and replaced with Trump loyalists, deadlocked, or defunded by Trump and Musk. Meanwhile, the defense budget that Roland is speaking to, which by the way pays Musk to the tune of $3.6 billion a year, conveniently, Musk hasn't even looked that way or talked about defunding that. This shows the purpose of all of it. It's not about waste or corruption, which is why they found zero actual waste or corruption. It's the man who makes $8 million a day off your taxpayer dollars, whose billion-dollar companies have paid $0 in income tax in multiple years, now taking another $7 million in taxpayer money for a week of DOGE operating, wants you to look at everyone's government spending, wants you to look at the $50,000 we've sent to prevent AIDS under the Trump administration to Mozambique, rather than the millions of dollars we're paying him a day.
Yeah, you're missing the incredible mandate, 1.6%. It's not an incredible mandate.
They won the White House, the House of Representatives, the Senate.
Okay, but that's not incredible.
They won the Electoral College and won the popular vote.
Piers.
I'm just saying. I mean, Roland, let's be clear. They won absolutely everything there is to win.
Piers, I'm aware of that. Let's also be clear. Biden had a larger margin over Trump. Was it called an incredible mandate? No. Here's the fact. It is a fact. It is a fact. Republicans control House, Senate, White House. That's a fact. When you talk about what is the impact on policies, to the point that Jeffrey was laying out, when you talk about spending those things that happen. Right now, you've got folks in these red states who are, oh my God, what's going on? rural health centers, when you freeze the funds, what has happened with those federal health centers? When you start talking about farmers who are now, wait a minute, what's going on? What about my soybeans? What about the money what about the $1 billion that USAID was actually buying products from American farmers? And so all these things are going to happen. But when we talk about what's also factual, again, I can't necessarily believe Elon Musk when he says things that are blatantly lies.
Yes, he hit so many wonderful points in such a short time there. A 1.4% popular vote margin, the fourth smallest in history, is hardly a popular mandate on its own. It's especially not a mandate, a powerful mandate, with the context that he's running against an opponent who had the shortest campaign time in history of 100 days to put together a national campaign compared to his 2 years to do so, with massive voter suppression that has been found. Again, hardly a massive mandate, more like one of the weakest campaigns of all time. And now with this majority, pretty much everyone outside of the cult is already like, hey, what's going on? As Trump has had to have most of his actions blocked by federal judges as unconstitutional, as he attacks civil rights legislation, has caused multiple plane crashes due to his gutting of agencies, and just keeps on going on with things that he never promised, like invading and annexing Gaza with U.S. troops, like invading and making Canada and Greenland the 51st state, invading Panama and taking back the Panama Canal. The amount of Trump voters online, even just openly stating their regret, is astronomical. The only people still defending Trump at this point are the people who are just going to defend literally anything he does, right? Because you have to think, at this point, with the totality of everything, it's one thing if after one negative story comes out about Trump, these people are like, oh, well, if you're going to write him off, he's still, I care about the policy, or it's TDS if you believe this. But if it's somebody who is defending him doing fake electors in 2020, which is election fraud, by the way, then they're defending him lying about Democrats doing election fraud, stirring up a mob and sending them to the Capitol where police died as a result of it, the sexual assault on E. Jean Carroll they defend, the bank fraud they defend, the 34 felony counts they defend, the 88 indictments they defend, the grabber by the you-know-what they defend, the this they defend, the that they defend. It's only people who have literally defended each and every one of these who still defend Trump today. And that's where you can see it's a pattern to where they're literally just going to write off anything. There is no moral red line with Trump to these people. He is like God to them, right? As Republicans now in charge are already trying to blame Democrats for their shortcoming. Oh, if the government shuts down here in a month, it's the Democrats' fault, despite them controlling every facet of government, because this is what you get when you elect an inefficient party at governing to govern.